I was shocked by how easy it is to get Botox up your ass. I know, right?
Please tell us more.
I'm an open book.
Good Lesbian, Bad Lesbian, with Dor and Julie van Grinsven.
Welcome back
Welcome back.
to
Good Lesbian.
Bad Lesbian. I think as a first guest, it was good to have Spenny around.
Yeah.
Because he is very passionate, and I think that it made it a very fun experience for both of us.
I think he surprised me and he surprised himself.
For being so professional.
For being so professional. He was so quiet. I was expecting him to be
outburst after outburst.
I thought he's gonna scream like our normal meetups. But he was not, and he was very good. And he already said he wants to come back probably next season. Because we have a full guest list for this season.
Get back in line.
Yeah.
And we were part of the dinner with Spendy.
So both you and Spendy were our non-Jewish guests in a very Jewish traditional dinner.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law and my mom stayed with me the whole day at home to cook, and the rest of the family went traveling.
It was delicious.
It was delicious.
Yes,
it was delicious.
Quite full. And I'll have my traditional Easter with my family, so that's also a lot of food. So, yeah. My belly is happy. I made so much fun of your sister during dinner because there was so much food on the table, and she no, I don't eat that. No, I don't eat that. Not that either. It was like only a few things that she's like, yeah, that's weird.
She's a very picky eater, but she's getting better nowadays in a very strange way. Like
the older you're getting, the less taste you have.
No, like she moved
No,
from
it's true.
But she moved from not eating like
at all.
Like nothing was tasty for her, to now suddenly she eats eggplant. That's a huge gap.
I do think that eggplant can be a very difficult vegetable.
I hear people
for people that aren't a fan of certain textures, because it's not the flavor, I think, that really puts people off. It's the texture and how you prepare it.
I feel gifted by not having issues with textures at all in anything. It allows me to enjoy the taste of many things.
You would have a problem being a gay man if you had problems with textures. So now you want to tell us how they fucked you up as a child. So one of the subjects that Dora wants to talk about today is therapy.
Oh my God, you put me on the spot for a second. I was like, what? Are we talking about that? No, they didn't do anything. They actually didn't do this. He should have done better. But yeah, no. What I wanted to say, I wanted to talk about therapy with you. Because yesterday you mentioned something when we about I go to therapy for a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And you asked me if my therapist already said something about graduating. When are you gonna finish therapy? I was like, I know also from my therapist and from myself that this is not the way that I do therapy.
No, this is not your therapy type of thing, but there is certain schemas, and there are certain types of therapy that you will graduate at one point. And with graduation, it's also maybe her saying, oh, you're doing so much better now. You're so much healthier in the decision making. Maybe we can talk once a month. That's also a type of graduation, isn't it?
I think, well, I started therapy. I wanted to do therapy for many years, and I avoided it because I did have a singular, very traumatic meeting with a therapist when I was 18, and I really avoided it for many, many years, even though I was promoting therapy to everyone.
Yes.
And actually here, a good friend told me, you really need therapy. Maybe you crying in bars is not good. Yeah.
What a wise person.
What wise person. So, and it still took me a while. I was trying. It's not easy to get in therapy in a foreign country.
No, it's not.
And then I felt like this is it. I need therapy this week.
Right.
And I reached out to someone who gave me a number, and the next day I had my first session. And I think usually I hear people say that therapy, finding a therapist is like dating.
Oh, it's definitely. I was about to say, you really fell in love with your therapist, and I think that's a really, really good thing, because you need to create this bond, this relationship that is a safe space. Just like I think if you're in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or if it's a romantic relationship, it is about creating safe space.
But I do feel extremely lucky because I was preparing myself to, like, I kept telling myself, it's okay if it's not working. You'll know within 2 sessions, and
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna make it last for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna move to another one. And after the first session, I was like, I love therapy. I was a mess, and I felt better within one episode. The podcast that is my life. Also, speaking about myself, 50 minutes a week
It made it
fucking
so much easier on us all
on
to be
everyone
your
else.
friend.
Yeah, I know. No, it's like a massage to your soul. I think everyone deserves to have 50 minutes a week of therapy. Not everyone understands how great it feels. Not everyone can afford that, and more than anything, many people don't understand. And I'm curious about your perspective on it. That anyone can use therapy. Therapy is not the therapy that I'm doing is not there to fix a problem.
No,
It
I
also
yeah.
fixes the problems, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Of course,
obviously.
yeah.
But
I think you're right that especially if you're in a position where you can't afford it, uh, and you feel like you need it, then that's ridiculous. As us in a rich modern world, I think it should be available for everyone. Um, I do have like an issue with, especially here, that they privatized healthcare. And with privatizing healthcare, it became extremely difficult to uphold the same rights and the same quality of healthcare, whether it's for your body or it's for your mind. Since it's been privatized, it's become very difficult for people to get help, because there's waiting lists and
I find it ridiculous that when you're in stress and you're going through trauma and some of us need therapy now, and some of us realize we need therapy like now, and tomorrow it's going to be too late.
Yeah.
And then you reach out for help and they say, no problem, 6 months from now, it's going to be your turn. I might not be there.
Well, there is.
That was my case. That's why I'm doing private therapy in a different country, which I'm happy about. But other people don't have that luxury.
I think of course, there are organizations in place that help people that need it. Then
I wanted you to elaborate about it because you were trying to help me with it back at the time.
Mm-hmm. So there are a few organizations that work for the GGD, which is it's you have to see it as a certain department of healthcare. But these are commercial entities in a way, so their goal is still to receive money from the insurances. It's so it is commercial for them to, they book you in, then they go to your insurance and they say, okay, this person was here for an hour this month, pay us. But I feel like it's with people knowing more about their mental health, it also has become somewhat of a modern disease that these organizations cannot handle. But what they do is they try to stabilize everyone and then put them in the according programs. But that can also mean that you need a longer stabilization in order for you to go into a program with someone of a similar level. So maybe because you are more analytical, or you're not dealing with multiple mental health disorders or anything related to mental health, that could be that you are done with 3 sessions of stabilization from your distress. But if everyone that's at your level, it's full, you'll still have to wait. So you're gonna stay at that level. And then someone that has a very extreme case, they have to get stabilized to a certain point as well to be placed in programs. But it's a puzzle. And if the program is full, you'll have to stay static at the same point in order for you to go through to the next program. That's why it takes a long time for people to be admitted into programs. It's also sometimes you feel like, why am I here? Because it's taking so long, and it's not really helping me because it's just keeping you calm to a certain level. It's not you addressing any of the issues.
Although, and that's what I learned from my therapy, and that's something we talked about before, that
And I might be wrong about this, huh? So it's just what I know.
it's just common knowledge.
Yeah.
You're not an expert. But the kind of therapy that I'm doing is I speak, I talk about my issues, I talk about anything.
Mhm.
I'm not being led to anything, and I'm not getting any advice. Unless it's a life-threatening situation. But it's really hard in the kind of therapy that I do. Really hard to see in real time that something is happening, that something is changing, that we're treating a problem.
Mhm.
But then 6 months later, like, remember I had this issue. It's gone, but I don't understand what happened.
Right.
And she will tell me what happened. You come here every week and you speak for 50 minutes. That's something that people don't do, and people don't understand how important it is and how helpful it is.
Right. No, it's like you said, if it is like a massage, you're training your brain to it maybe change certain thinking patterns you have. And in a way, your therapist, of course, is, especially beginning, she must have been steering you towards certain parts of your life or certain parts of the issues you have, to really for you to address these patterns over, and then think about it and see where your issue with it is and change that gradually. But that's why, of course, it's not a checklist. And then when you've done the checklist, it's like, oh, now I'm different. It's a process.
It's really a lesson in trusting the process.
Right.
It's really hard when you think about it up front, but after it's been done, you're like, yeah, the process really worked.
Mhm.
Nothing, and I tried everything else. By the way, how easy is it to get psychiatric pills? I was on antidepressants for a year.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 15 minutes to get it. To be honest, I would give me antidepressants if I saw me as well within 15 minutes. My doctor is great, and he asked me just a few questions, and my answers were very clear that I'm depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But still, getting that within 15 minutes and getting therapy within 6 months is a huge gap,
Yes.
and it's scary. And it's not helpful
I mean,
for everyone. For me, it was very right.
it's the band-aid on the wound, right? It's like that's it.
I actually I might contradict myself. I don't think that there's anything wrong with antidepressants. They saved my life. My sister explained it to me once. She said, "You have a problem in your brain. Something is not working. This pill is not a happy pill. It's just gonna connect the two
Or disconnect.
the two parts that are not the plug with the socket.
Yeah.
Once you treat that problem, you can go to therapy and deal with your life."
Yeah, and then I'm not saying because therapy also doesn't treat the chemical imbalance that people can have.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's two different issues.
Yeah, absolutely. But for you to 15 minutes is quick to write like for a doctor to write a certain pill. However, I do think they see it as the band-aid to a wound. Like the wound keeps bleeding otherwise.
Of course, sorry, now I
Yeah.
get what you mean.
Yeah.
It is a band-aid for the wound, but now you need to go and get yourself checked and treat yourself. Otherwise, you'll you can keep taking this band-aid forever, and you're not gonna fix the problem.
Yeah. And it can mean also that you have to take a certain type of medication for the rest of your life, which wherever floats your boat. Like if that works for you and it makes you wake up in the morning and think, hey, I feel like getting out of bed, putting on my clothes and going to work or go horse riding, whatever it is, that's great.
I do think that from experience, the pill helps, and after a while, if you don't do therapy, it will stop helping because other issues will become bigger.
Well, that's that certain pill, right? It's that's why I'm saying the chemical imbalance that certain people have needs in most cases needs to be treated by medication.
Of course, but it's not everything.
No.
I say usually because I'm not an expert, but I think that almost always comes with mental issues that needs to be treated by therapy and not only by the pill. The pill is a lifesaver, but then you need to maintain your life so you won't need it again.
Well,
getting the pill forever is not going to save.
I'm not an expert, and I mean, Dimi might even know more about this than we do. But let's say you have a personality disorder that is borderline. People with borderline, in some cases, they do get medication, and they will take that medication for the rest of their life because of the chemical imbalance. That's just how their
therapy.
Their brains are formed. The therapy they're getting though is for them to help them with thinking patterns or life patterns. It's things like, hey, you might be attracted to gambling. Just know that it's because of your chemical imbalance. The pill is gonna help you with that, but it's your behavior. It's like cognitive behavior therapy. It's completely different than the therapy you're having. It's helping them how to live in a society that is going to throw things at them that it's difficult for them to process or to handle. But they will, in most cases, have to take that medication regardless of the cognitive behavior therapy they're getting. It really depends on the situation you're in. When you say you believe that everyone can benefit from the type of therapy you're having, I think I think you're right. If you have the desire and the need to talk about something, and training your brain to ask yourself, "Hey, how am I doing?" Or, "Oh, last week there was this conversation I had. Afterwards, I felt bad about it, or I've been doubting myself." Those conversations you're having with the therapist, that can suit anyone. But the type of therapies people have with actual mental health disorders, that's completely different.
Shall we take a break?
Yes.
We're back.
We're back. I just want to say that if you're in the Netherlands and you are very much struggling, there is a helpline. It's 113, and you can call them and ask them any questions you have, or they're just there to talk to you.
If you're not in the Netherlands, just check the local helpline. Well, we're talking about how easy it is to get some things and how hard it is to get therapy. I was shocked by how easy it is to get Botox up your ass. I know, right?
Please tell us more.
I'm an open book. I had fissure up my ass. Not from anal sex, by the way. It happens. Most of us. Not to most of us. Too many of us. A very uncomfortable thing that happens to you. And within 2 hours, I was laying ass up, being
Hooked.
twice. And my asshole was snatched. I remember ending up in your house that day, and someone asked me, "Why do you look so grumpy today?" I'm like, I just got Botox up my ass. Is that a good enough reason?
How does the Botox feel now?
Well, it's been a while, maybe.
Touch up. Perhaps. And it was covered by insurance.
I know. I don't think so.
Is
No,
is it considered cosmetic?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, wow, this episode became a therapy episode.
That's exactly what you wanted to talk about.
I mean, remember last time I told you that I almost had therapy and then an episode the same day?
Oh, yeah, you said 50 minutes, 2 times 50 minutes talking about myself.
Yes.
Great. How do you feel now?
It's happening next week. I have my session on Friday next week. My therapist has an agreement with me that I'm not allowed to use any...
Imminence?
Yeah, 24 hours before a session. I usually... Good.
Mm-hmm.
Times I let her know when I'm bad. Times I don't. Because I don't feel like... I don't really get those... Let's not talk about drugs. No. But yeah, I didn't have my therapy session last week because my parents were here. And I really feel like I'm missing something. Because it's fine. I talk to my friends and to my partner, but there's things that I'm not even aware of having to talk about. And in therapy, things come up, things that happened that week that I'm not even seeing. I don't even see it coming. And when it comes, I'm like, wow, how did I go through this week without mentioning it to anyone? Thank God for this therapy. But this week, I'm really waiting for this session.
But does it feel like you're about to explode kind of thing?
No, not at all. And I'm really okay. But the last 2 weeks were really a roller coaster of emotions. also having my family here, my boyfriend for the first time, that was a lot, but that's not even the most.
Troublesome?
No, it's not the strongest feeling I had in the last 2 weeks.
What is it? Tell me.
I've had the beginning of those 2 weeks in the shop was really rough. The weather was still crappy, and
This shop.
my shop, when I don't have people in the shop, I get in my head. Imposter syndrome is insane. It happens so quickly. I only need to get a little email from someone within the company that something is need to be addressed, and I get immediately super stressed. I immediately think of the worst. This is it. They hate me. They don't like what I do. And I totally don't read the
subtext about it?
No, I don't read the good stuff. It
Uh-huh.
always comes with, "But don't worry, it will be fine. We will help you. We believe in you. We believe in your vision.
Right.
You just need our help."
Right.
And it's really hard to see it when I'm in distress. And this week, after having those few very rough days, I had the event last week in the streets.
Which was a huge success.
I'm still speechless. It was a lot. It was amazing.
There was a lot happening on the streets. When we were about to get ready to go down and see you in the shop, I looked across and there was a guitar player playing from the window across from us. Like, oh, how did he get there? But it's so nice because there's also, it wasn't only businesses that opened their doors, because across from us is just someone living there. So they also opened their doors, and it was, in a way, it was also much bigger than I thought it would be. A lot more performances than I thought it would be.
And everyone participating, it's funny, I just saw through the window the organizer of the event, which is exactly my point. Everyone who took part in this or participated in this event was part of this street. All of the performances were done by people who either live in the street or have some kind of a connection to the street.
Right.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. There were some insane moments that it felt like, really like, it felt like a fairy tale, like what you think of Amsterdam when you don't live in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
People playing the ukulele in the street and another one playing the cello from the window. That's very much a Disney movie, and it was surreal. And having my family here that day was really great.
The weather was amazing.
Everything was like the stars aligned.
They had a bit of a street party with a DJ. I've never seen that. So he was DJing on a tablet. So we were
Technology.
Wow, such a boomer. But we started in front of your shop, and then they invited us to go through the neighborhood dancing. And it was so much fun, and there were a lot of tourists around, also on the big street, Warmoestraat. And of course, everyone took their cameras out, because if you don't film it, it never happened. But I can imagine for tourists to see that and be like, "Wow, is this Amsterdam?
Yeah.
It's so much fun."
I will put a link. Yeah, so it also translated to, let's be honest, to money. People came for the performances, and they stayed for the products, because this shop was a very central part of this event. Only for the good reason that it's literally in the middle of the street.
Right.
And also, this shop is full of art pieces and local artists. It was gorgeous, and it was really fun to end the day and count the bills. And people bought art. People came here and bought art. people said some beautiful things like, I had no idea that the red light district can be so artistic and cool. People have a very different view on what this area is before they actually get to know it. I had that for 2 years before I met you. I stayed away from this whole area until I got to know people who lived here, and I just had to come here, and I figured out that's amazing area.
Which I mean, which is such a shame, and I think we also, I mean, we had already addressed it in one of the early podcasts, was where, and this is actually the best area to be in because it is such a free from normative world, because you have the sex workers, you have artists, you have people of all walks of life, and I think with that coming together, that's how you create art, right? It's like it's not the white picket fence that inspires people to do certain things. It is the diversity. Red light district is extremely diverse in all sorts of ways, because there's a music school there that teaches people classical music, but it doesn't have to be all new. But it is the fact that it's a combination of all sorts of things that, yeah, it's a shame that people would just only perceive it as a seedy area where dodgy things happen.
And that's why this kind of events so important. I've seen it happening in different countries and different cities where the shadiest areas, much shadier than what people think of Amsterdam's red light district, like shady, ended up being the center of art of the city, because that's what happened. That's gentrification.
We have to, of course, we have to watch out for gentrification, because you don't want to be the cool area.
Although we are part of gentrification. When the students and the gays arrive, that's when gentrification starts.
I mean, this whole neighborhood is already gentrified.
The fact that this shop used to be 3 red windows.
Yeah, so it was 3 rooms, and I think even before that, it was a pornography cinema. Yeah.
So I love that. I have no idea.
When we moved into the house, I Googled the address just to know a little bit about the history of it. And there's the previous owner that lived there in the 70s, the previous owner. He wrote a little blog about how it was to live in the house, and at that point it was still 2 apartments and a shop. But he was talking about that, I think this was the cinema, and then there was still some of the windows. There was a madame living next to him that was screaming at all of the junkies that were roaming around. It's, yeah, I'll translate it for you, and then it's actually quite nice because it does say a lot about this street.
I am romanticizing sex work right now when I'm excited about having this pornography cinema.
No one wanted to live here, though.
That's why I'm saying it. And for that reason, I keep it very clear also to customers, clients here in the shop, that this used to be very different. And I feel like it's important for me to make a tribute to the original purpose of this space.
We do, so I don't want to talk bad on the shops that arrived here after we moved in, but we did actually really enjoy having the ladies in the street, because it was very lively, and they would talk to you, and you had a little chit chat, and especially during COVID times, because there was still at work, we would go around, walk around, have a beer with them, talk. It still is a village in a city. Like, people still talk to each other here. People still say hi. It's not like other places in Amsterdam. But yeah, it could have been nice for them to also keep a few of the windows still here. Now they're talking about moving them to moving a few of the windows to a different part of Amsterdam. This is because they put such a strain on the two canals that only showcase is a very stupid word to use, but to have the windows on so everyone flocks to those two canals. The people that live there are going insane, and I don't blame them because they just came out of COVID. It was very quiet. There were no people around. They could sit on the street, wave to the girls working. It's not about them, it's about the people they attract. If it would have been more spread out and it would have been a mixture here, like it was at some point, it wouldn't just be centralized like it's now. And I do think that if you can have an art shop next door who makes extremely interesting art, but it's extremely sexual, it's art, it's sexual, come on. If you can't deal with it, sorry, but fuck off.
But you ask the city to adapt to your very advanced ideas,
There is
but they are catering to a very different part of
the family that lives next door to us. They have two small children. They've been living here before that we lived here. They lived here when there was 3 rooms on that side and there were 6 rooms on that side.
I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that the average family would not even step foot in this area.
That's
the ones who
there's
made the choice.
but there's other areas where they can live. It's choices you can make. I don't think that moving them to benefit anyone's needs.
Oh,
is
I definitely don't think
necessary.
that's necessary. By the way, I said, would you like to cancel your subscription to?
I definitely want to. Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm already heated up now, so I might as well start.
Bring it on, Julie.
So, I truly believe that everyone should have the right to demonstrate and protest. If you want to do a sit-in a university, go for it. But I would like to cancel my subscription to the ones that choose to destroy buildings for no good reason. Damaging property is not the way to voice your opinion. It's actually very damaging to the cause that you say you're fighting for. It's distracting. It's like if people in the news see these students chose to destroy a building, and last time the damages were 4 million euros. How is that not distracting from what they're actually trying to vocalize? But I think it's extremely stupid of the ones that thought it was a good idea to start smashing laptops, computers, spray painting on walls. Just don't do that. And also, you're ruining it for the people that do try to voice their opinions in a very intellectual and factual way.
Mm-hmm. I do appreciate them for doing all of that mess the day my family left.
It timed it well for you.
I would like to cancel my subscription today to unsolicited advices, which is an issue because I also tend to give unsolicited advice. I just don't like it.
You
All of my problems are me problems. No, because
but when do you think something is unsolicited?
when it wasn't asked.
No, but if you're having a conversation about something, some people will feel like they're just vocalizing their opinion in order to be helpful.
I have the urge when someone is struggling and share their frustration with me.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to come to me and just say, you know what you need to do? Like, I know what I need to do, and I live. I'm just looking at my notes, and I see Botox up my ass
Right.
like 3 weeks ago. I just never found a good time for it, and now that we were talking about mental issues, it finally came up.
If only it was that easy.
It came up my ass.
Maybe you should have some Botox in your brain.
You know that back in the days, dildos were actually...
Did we
How deep
learn
is
that
it?
together? Because I feel like I just learned it this week.
It was
Oh,
on a
no.
podcast, on another podcast.
I know.
It,
Told me that.
yeah.
There's a series about, it's called Masters of Sex, but they mentioned this, the dildos were made for hysteria.
Stop it.
Not just
No, there is the I believe they call it the Venus nerve, which goes down your anus, and that seems to be extremely important nerve within controlling your body. So some smart white man decided that
of course it's men, it's always fucking men.
stimulated, probably some closeted homos. Might fix some things, but I don't think it does.
Well,
That's it.
if you like the Botox up your ass, hit the like, subscribe.
Do we have the
Here. It's here. It's actually here.
Is it?
It's somewhere here. No, it's not here. It's and here. It's around here. I think so. Tell your friends about it.
Well, we had a conversation